Hello boys and girls, welcome back to Mrs. Bartunik's Art Room. Today we are going to be taking inspiration from an artwork. That artwork is going to be the Great Wave, which is a Japanese print by Japanese artist Hokusai, who created the print in about 1829. And what we're going to be doing is we are going to be creating our own version of the Great Wave, and we're going to be doing this in a marker watercolor technique today. So what you're going to need is you're going to need some blank pieces of paper. You're going to want more than one, just in case you need to layer them so you can protect the surface that you're working on of the table today. You also need a pencil, a black Sharpie if you have it, and then you're going to need some colored markers. These colors are going to be in blues and purples. Now what you would really like to have is if you can have two different color blues. If you look at mine, I have a light blue marker and then also a dark blue marker, and then I have my one purple. If you would like to use more colors in these markers, that's completely fine, but you do want to stick within this bluish purple range, so you can do like a light purple and a dark purple, a medium purple, you know, a light blue, medium blue, dark blue. That is completely fine, but you need at least 3. All right, so we are going to get started today, and I'm going to go ahead and show you guys how to do this. So if you're ready, you can draw along with me. Let's get started. Okay, boys and girls, so I'm gonna first start by using my pencil, because if I make any mistakes, I want to be able to erase it. The first thing that we're going to do is that I am going to take my pencil and I'm going to go to the top left corner of my page, and I want to start maybe down a little bit like here. If you want a more specific area, what you can do is you can take your 4 fingers and you can line them up at the top of the page, and you can make a little line right at the edge, and that can be your starting place if that's what you would like to do. So the first thing that we're going to do is we're going to start to create the big wave, the Great Wave, and we're just going to kind of go a little bit, almost like we're creating a road. So I'm going to draw a little bit, and then on that road, it's almost like we're going to start going uphill. So I'm going to start making a hill. My car is driving up the hill, up the hill, up the hill. All right, and then I'm going to stop right about here. I think that's a good area. And then if you go straight down from where we just ended, that little cliff, you're going to go straight down and then go back over to the left. So it's almost like we're in the center of this little peak. You're going to make a straight line down just like this. And at the bottom of that straight line, you're going to draw just a regular letter C, just like that. Now, once you're done with the C, you don't have to stop like I did, because the next step, you're actually going to continue this line and you're going to go up off the page, just like that. Now, it's okay if yours doesn't look like mine. If you want to have more of an arch, that's okay. If you want this to kind of go down more and then come up, I think I might actually like that better. So I'm going to erase my line. And remember, you don't have to erase your line if you like the way that yours turned out. All right, so let me try it again. I'm going to go from my C, and I'm going to go this way. I like that better, so I'm going to use that. And remember, it's okay if we make a mistake in art, because that's why we're using the pencil. If we make mistakes, we can always erase it and try again. So the next step that we're going to do is we're going to fill in this area right here. Now, this wave is starting to break. So there's some white foam that appears on the Great Wave. So how we're going to do this is we just made a regular C here. So in this little area, we're going to make a backward C. And we're not just going to make one, we're going to make a bunch of tiny backward Cs. So remember, a C goes this way. So a backward C, we're going to go like this. All right? So you can go ahead and you can kind of fill in this area. They can either be this way, you know, you can kind of make a couple a little upside down if you want. I'm going to kind of go like this. I'm going to make a second row, I think. Just make a whole bunch of them. Okay, I like that. For your next step, we're going to go ahead and we are going to create the edge. So just like we said, this is the white foam that appears when a wave is breaking. There's also a line of white foam on the edge of the wave as well. So how we're going to do this is we are going to create a wavy line. Now you all know what a wavy line is from our first class together when we talked about different types of lines and patterns. But if you forgot, a wavy line can just be something that looks like this. Goes up and down, up and down. It's almost like drip marks, like something's dripping. So your wavy line can kind of be however you would like it to be. If you want it to be thinner, or if you want it to be thicker, you want it to be long or short. I'm kind of making mine a little bit different as I go. And all I'm doing is I'm following this first line that we drew. And you can see that's what I'm doing. I'm following that first line. I'm going to follow it all the way around. Even over here, I'm going to follow it with that wavy, drippy line. All right, and I'm going to leave that just the way it is. I like the way this is looking. For your next step, you are now going to create the inside of the wave. And we're going to kind of to give our wave some texture. We want it to look more like a wave because right now it just kind of looks like a bunch of lines. So what we're going to do is we're going to do some curved lines, and I'm going to start right in the inside, right here in the corner, right where our little C was. And I'm going to do a larger C like that. And then I'm going to get a little bit bigger and a little bit bigger, just like that. And if you were just watching and wondering why I did that, so what happened was my line, I was going into this wavy line that I just created. And I didn't want to draw over that because that wouldn't be correct. So instead, I kind of did a little jump. So I did my line, and when I came to that wavy line, I stopped, I jumped over it, I picked up my line, up, I hit my wavy line again. So I'm going to jump over it, and then I start it again, and I continue all the way down. You're going to continue doing these lines all the way over here, but you want to stop right kind of in the middle of your page. This side of the paper you want to leave blank at this moment. So I'm going to continue with those curved lines. Really make it look more like a wave. Just like that. All right, that looks good. Now what we're going to do is we're going to take a break just from this, just for a second, and we are going to go right up here, right next to this area of the wave breaking, and we're going to draw a small volcano right in the background. So you want to make sure that your volcano is above this line right down here. You want to make sure that the volcano is in this area. If you want to move it over a little bit, you can. Remember, you don't want to draw over anything you've already drawn. So how we're going to make a volcano is I'm going to start with just kind of like this little curved line, just like that. And we're going to make an ellipse out of that. For all of my 5th graders, you all know what an ellipse is, as we just started talking about ellipses, about self-portraits. Remember, ellipses are the shapes of our eyes. So we're going to take this and we're going to make an ellipse out of it. It's kind of like a flattened circle almost, just like that. And then on either side of your ellipse, you're just going to go in and you're going to create a curved line like that, and then a curved line like that. And that can be our volcano in the distance. Okay, so at this point, we're going to create another smaller wave right on the bottom. If you made your lines come all the way down, then remember, your drawing doesn't have to look exactly like my drawing because all artists create things differently. So if yours has a little variation to it, that's okay. So we're going to go ahead, and what we're going to do is we're going to make another wave, and I'm going to start down here, and I'm just going to kind of go up a little bit like this, and then back down like that. So it's almost like a bump. Remember, if yours wants to be more over here, or if you want to make yours more to the right, that's completely fine. Once you draw your second little wave, your little bump, what you're going to do is you're going to do the same thing we did up here. Remember that white foam on the edge of the wave? We used our wavy line for that. So we're going to do the exact same thing. We're going to do our wavy line again. And remember, our wavy lines all can look completely different from other people's. So if your wavy line is thinner or thicker or longer or shorter, that is okay. That's a great thing. All right. All right, I'm done with this wave. Perfect. So we're done with our pencil and our drawing at this moment, and we're gonna go into the watercolor part of our art. So this is where you wanna make sure that you have your different color markers in blues and purples. That's very important. They need to be blues and purples. Now, I'm only gonna be using 3. I'm gonna be using a light blue, a dark blue, and a regular purple. But as I said before in the video, if you would like to use more colors, that's okay. But you wanna make sure that they're lights and darks. So if I wanted to use 6 markers, maybe I would do a light blue, medium blue, dark blue, and then a light purple, dark purple, and a medium purple. But whatever you have available is completely fine. We will make it look wonderful. All right, you ready? This is super easy. All you're gonna do is you are going to alternate between your colors, and you're going to start making lines. Now, we didn't draw these lines over here, but we are gonna draw them with the markers. So what I'm going to do is this. I'm gonna start with my light blue. I think my pattern is gonna be light blue, dark blue, purple. That's gonna be my pattern. So remember, patterns repeat. So what I'm gonna end up doing is I'm gonna do light blue, dark blue, purple. Light blue, dark blue, purple. Light blue, dark blue, purple. I'm gonna keep repeating that same pattern. I'm not gonna switch them. So this is what I mean. I'm gonna start with my light blue, and I'm gonna do a line just like this, and I'm gonna go right over here. All right, there's my light blue. Next, I'm gonna move to my dark blue. I'm gonna move to my dark blue, and I'm gonna do this right next to it. All right, now moving to my purple. Remember, you want to be careful that you don't get any of this marker in any of the edges, because this is all supposed to be white. You know, that section that we did with our wavy line, that edge of the waves, and down here also. So if you come into an area, remember you can just jump over it. Just be careful and take your time. Okay, boys and girls, so when you are done with the markers, you can get ready and set up your station for adding some water, which is going to make our markers look like watercolor paints. Now, in order to prepare for this, you need to put something down on the table. So what I'm using is a heavy piece of cardboard paper. You can use something like this. You can use newspaper, magazine paper, anything that you have available. You just want to make sure that there is something underneath your artwork paper so that you don't ruin the table surface or whatever surface you are working on. Also, the paper that I have been using for this project is a watercolor paper. So when I go in with water, my paper is not going to deteriorate because this is a little bit heavier, as we talked about in the classroom. If you went ahead and if you used a regular piece of paper for this project, then you just need to keep in mind that you will be using less water than I am going to be doing. Also be careful, because on a regular piece of paper, if I put a little bit of water down here, that water can spread very easily, whereas on watercolor paper, I would need to add a little bit more. So all I'm gonna do is that I have my water, I have my paintbrush, I have a piece of paper towel right here, just in case I want to wipe off my brush, in case I want to take off some of the water. And I'm just going to start. So I'm going to dip my brush in the water, and I'm just going to start adding water. And you can see that I'm kind of doing this dabbing motion. I'm picking up my brush and just kind of sweeping it down in the same pattern of the lines. So I'm not going to go in with my brush and I'm not just gonna kind of paint all over the place. I'm gonna continue to follow the directions of the lines that I have already made. And as I said, we are picking our brush up and doing a dabbing motion, just like this. The colors will start to blend together, as you can see. They look really nice. It's really pretty colors. And you can also go in right up here where we did our wavy line. You can spread that color in here. You just want to be really careful. Take your time so that you get all those little nooks and crannies painted nicely. Okay, so I'm gonna go ahead and I'm gonna do my painting now. Okay, boys and girls, that concludes our lesson on the Great Wave in Mrs. Bartunik's art room. If you would like to leave your painting just like this, you can, or you can use the same technique with the marker and the water to go in and color your background sky and also your volcano in the background. Or you can go in and you can use regular markers or colored pencils to finish your drawing as well. Hope you enjoyed it, and I will see you next time.